I gave you all my colors, but you painted me in gray. I said forever, you just smiled and looked away. And deep inside I always knew I was never yours. I kissed you like a quiet storm, hoping you'd hold me like something warm. But your touch, it felt borrowed, like love you'd return tomorrow. I stayed up tracing your goodnight texts, trying to feel more than just your next. But I was pages in a book unread, a soft hello you left unsaid. And I kept shrinking just to fit into a heart that couldn't commit. I was never yours, not in the way I hoped. Just someone to lean on when your heart broke. You held me like a maybe, not a choice. And I was screaming love, you lost your voice. I gave too much, you stayed unsure. Now I see it clear, I was never yours. You loved the way I fell for you, but never asked if you were falling too. I tied my dreams to your someday, but someday never came my way. I wore your silence like perfume, filling the spaces in every room with all the words you never said and all the tears I never shed. I begged for answers in your eyes, but they just told 1,000 lies. I was never yours, just close enough to feel your warmth, but not your love. You made me feel like second place, like a song you played but won't embrace. You took my heart, but not the core. Now I'm done pretending I was never yours. And I deserved a love that stays, not one that leaves in quieter ways. But I kept holding on to air, to someone who was never there. I was never yours, and that's okay, but I can't keep loving halfway. You needed space, I needed truth, but love can't grow in empty rooms. You want my heart like something worn, and now I rise from being torn. No more closed and lonely doors. I was never yours. Never mind. Still I loved you like you were divine. I gave you love like a vow unspoken, built a world with pieces broken. You held my heart but never closed. Now I see I was never yours. I learned your breath, your favorite lies, held on while watching goodbye in your eyes. I bent my truth to fit your shape, let your silence call it fate. You loved me soft but loved me small, said everything without saying it all. And I believed you, God, I tried to be the reason you never denied. But love shouldn't ache this quietly. It shouldn't feel like hiding me. I was never yours, not really, not whole. Just a body that filled your temporary soul. You touched my skin but not my core. Now I know what I ignored. You were a dream I couldn't force, and I was never yours. I smiled through every empty call, hoping one day you'd give it all. But your love came in parts and fears, like you were never really here. I watched you drift when I leaned in, loved the girl you made me dim. I begged in silence for something more, but begging's not what hearts are for. You loved the chase, not what it cost. You held my hand, but still I lost. I was never yours, not in the light, just someone you held when the stars felt right. I gave you truth, you gave me doubt, and that's how love just faded out. I saw forever, you saw the door, and now I know I was never yours. You said my name like it wasn't gold, left me warm and never bold. A love that hides behind closed eyes will never stand the test of time. I was never yours, just passing through, a heart too open for someone like you. I sang your name in every song while you forgot me all along. I gave you all, but you stayed unsure, and now I'm gone, still never yours. Never yours, never was, and maybe that hurts more than love does. I loved you louder than my fear, but you were never really here. I traced forever on your skin, but you were gone before it could begin. And now I know I was never yours. I wore your name like a gentle prayer, held on tight though you weren't there. You kissed me like a borrowed flame, warm for a moment, then gone again. You said I need you, but not too close, like love was something you feared the most. I gave my soul in every word, but you left me hanging, never heard. You showed up late, left me undone, made me feel like I was the only one. But love the way you gave it back, it always came with something I lacked. I was never yours, just someone near, a voice you held when you felt unclear. I gave you more than I could afford, but you were never reaching for the kind of love that's built to stay. You wanted soft, but not the weight of a heart that broke to feel adored. Now I see I was never yours. I danced in silence just to please, tried to be perfect, tried to appease, but every time I showed you truth, you turned away, you needed proof. You loved the version I made small, not the real me who risked it all. I thought we were the quiet kind, but I was the only one who tried. You called it fate, I called it pain. You built a fire but left a main, and now I'm standing in the cold with empty hands and stories untold. I was never yours, just in your way, a heart you borrowed and pushed away. I saw forever in your eyes, you saw a moment you could disguise. You held my tears like they were flaws, but love's not meant to come with pause. I waited deep behind closed doors, but I was never yours. You let me fall was never yours, not truly, no. Just a stop before you let me go. I gave you light, you gave me shade. Still I stayed, still I stayed. You called it love, but love is more than a whisper walking out the door. Now I'm done keeping score. You'll never know what you ignore, because I was never yours, never yours, never was. But God, I really thought I was. I gave you love like it was mine to lose. Held you close with nothing left to prove. But I was just the silence in your noise. No matter how I loved, I was never yours. We looked like love in the photograph, but the truth was buried in the aftermath. You smiled, but it never touched your soul. I gave you all, you stayed half whole. I dressed my heart in your favorite light, but you only came around at night. I was dreaming in forever's arms. You were slipping through with no alarms. I stayed when it hurt. I broke to stay strong. You said I care, but you proved me wrong. I was never yours, not really, not true. Just someone to hold till the sky turned blue. I was pages torn from someone else's book. You read me slow but never looked. I kissed you like a final verse, but I was never yours. You've loved my light but feared my depth. Took all my words and left regret. I built a home with hands that shook. You moved in, but never looked. You told your friends I made you feel, but in your eyes I was never real. I gave you truth, you gave me pause. Love without return is love that's lost. I stayed in a dream, you didn't stay. You were always one goodbye away. I was never yours, not in your plans. Just a passing thought, not in your hands. I held on tight to falling stars. You held your heart behind locked bars. You wore my name like it was cursed, 'cause I was never yours. Real, it wouldn't fade, but I was just the price you never paid. I gave you more than you could give. You taught me how the broken live. I was never yours, just a borrowed light, a lullaby that cried at night. You said forever, but meant for now. You love me less, I don't know how. I burned for you, you watched it worse, and now I know I was never yours, never yours. Just a name you used to say, never yours. I loved you, walked away. I gave you all my colors, but you painted me in gray. I said forever, you just smiled and looked away. And deep inside I always knew I was never yours. I kissed you like a quiet storm, hoping you'd hold me like something warm. But your touch, I felt borrowed, like love you return tomorrow. A state of tracing your goodnight text, trying to know which one feel more than just your next. But I was pages in a book unread, a soft hello you left unsaid. And I kept shrinking just to fit into a heart that couldn't come in. Was never yours, not in the way I hoped. Just someone to lean on when your heart broke. You held me like a maybe, not a choice. And I was screaming love, you lost your voice. I gave too much, you stayed unsure. Now I see it clear, I was never yours. Loved the way I felt for you, but never asked if you would fall into. I tagged my dreams to yours someday, but someday never came my way. I wore your silence like perfume, filling the spaces in every room, with all the words you never said, and all the tears I never shed. I had forever answers in your eyes, but they just told 1,000 lies. It's never yours, just close your eyes. I was never yours, and I deserved a love that stays, not one that leaves in quiet ways. But I kept holding on to air, to someone who was never there. I was never yours, and that's okay, but I can't keep loving halfway. You needed space, I needed truth, but love can't grow in empty rooms. You wore my heart like something worn, and now I rise from being torn. No more clothes and lonely doors. I was never yours. Never yours, never mine. Still I loved you like you were divine. I gave you my nights, I gave you my days. I folded my soul in your fragile ways. But every I love you felt like a maybe. You held my hand like it wasn't real, kissed my lips but forgot to feel. I traced your name in the coldest rain, but baby, you never did the same. We danced in the dark, but you looked away. You smiled like love was just a game. We danced in the dark, but you looked away. 'Cause my love was just a game. I was yours in every dream I wrote, but you were gone before I even spoke. Every promise faded like distant shores. Now I know I was never yours. I was never yours. Your sweater still hangs on my door, like your silence, a wound I ignore. I played the fool in a perfect lie. You watched me fall and never cried. I gave my hand, I gave my heart. You gave me doubt. You shut me in, I shut the world down. Was yours in some quiet way, the kind that leaves, not the kind that stays. But I needed more than a half-lit flame. I needed someone who'd stay the same. I was yours with every beat, every fight, but you left me alone in the middle of night. Now your name just echoes like empty floors, 'cause deep down I was never yours. No, I was never yours. Never yours. Never mind, just a love that ran out of time. You touched my skin like you own the stars, but your heart was never where mine was. I gave you love like breath, like war, but baby, I was never yours. Late night drives, no destination, just chasing ghosts in conversation. You'd hold me close but feel so far, like I was healing someone else's scars. I wore your name like a second skin, but you kept the door half opening. I stayed for the hope, for the look in your eyes, ignoring the truth I couldn't recognize. Every kiss had something missing. Every hug felt more like distance. I was the fire, you were the smoke. I held on tight while you let go. I saw a future, you saw a detour. Now I know I was never yours, never yours, not even halfway. Just a heart you borrowed for a rainy day. Your phone lit up with someone's name. You said it's nothing, I took the blame. Built you a home in my fragile chest. You called it love, but it felt like less. You loved the way I broke for you, quiet, soft, and bleeding through. I loved you loud, you loved me small. That wasn't love at all. I gave the truth, you gave me maybe. I whispered forever, you called it maybe. I was the song, you skipped too soon. The sunrise lost behind your room. I held your pain, you locked your doors. Now I know I was never yours. Not in the light, just someone you needed for one lonely night. If I mattered, you would have stayed. Some hearts are meant to be saved. I wasn't yours, I was just there. A love you wore but didn't wear. I was the real and your pretend, the start of something you let in. I broke for us down to the core, but the truth is I was never yours.